Hello, this is XCOM, and this is a video about instant hoppers. I'm going to explain how hoppers work in detail and the reason that this bug exists. It's a very particular bug that actually causes issues for the sorting systems that exists for example, witch farms. Here is the bug in full effect. There is a bunch of hoppers. There's a backup of the items. There's just a bunch of items that are clogging here. The witches are coming in from above, they're dying, and this particular sorter is supposed to sort the sticks. You can clearly see the sticks here. There's an item here, there's a glowstone here that is actually preventing this item to transfer properly. So the witches are dropping their loots and they're just backing up here in the system. And there is no way for these items to get sorted now because there's a circulation of sticks. There's just sticks everywhere now, and they're going around in a loop. So they're all going in a loop here, and they're attempting to go in a loop so that they can be sorted out. Obviously, this hopper is supposed to sort the items, the sticks, but they're not getting sorted because there's a bug. So this hopper is transferring, but instead of the item showing up here, I'm clicking here, trying to pick up the item here. It doesn't show up. If I were to pick up this glowstone, then it's going to fix itself. Let me just demonstrate that. So I am clicking here, no items pick up, and the second I pick up this glowstone, now the items can transfer over and the system is stopping to clog. So there is a reason that this bug shows up, and it's got to do with hoppers and how they behave, and it's quite complicated, so I'm going to just explain the behavior of hoppers and then come back to this bug. So this is the paint explanation. Hopefully some people will enjoy it, other people will probably scroll past this part, so let's go through it quickly. The hoppers are part of the tile entity code, and it's the last part of the game code. Right before autosaves, the tile entity code do their thing, and hoppers update as per creation. Basically, whatever hopper is created first updates first, and then they update successively one after the other. Other tile entities can actually update in between, so let's say that there is a piston update that happens in between some hopper updates. That can also be possible, but generally speaking, this is how the hoppers update. And the internal hopper code goes as such. They have an internal world game time they set to check which hopper is updated first and which hoppers will update second, and so on. So let's say that this the world time is at game tick 100 and this hopper ticks, then it's going to set its own internal game time to the world's game time, so which is, let's say the world game time is 100. Then it's going to reduce its cooldown. Let's say that it's got a cooldown of 5, then it's going to reduce that and set its own cooldown to 4. But if it didn't have a cooldown, let's say that its cooldown was at 0, then it's going to check if it's powered. If it's not powered and it doesn't have a cooldown, then it's going to do its transfers. And then the transfers actually are done. There is 2 transfers that are done in the same update of this one hopper. It transfers stuff out and then it sucks stuff in this order. When it's doing the transfers, it does the transferring stuff out. Let's just go through the transferring of stuff that it actually happens like before even reaching the sucking in items. It's going to, I'll go through all the transferring of the stuff that is going to transfer stuff out. There is tons of stuff that is happening when it's transferring. And the first thing it does is it goes through the different slots of the hopper, and each slot it's going to check if it's empty. If it's empty, it goes to the next slot. If it's transferring, obviously out. If it's sucking in, it's obviously going to check if the slots are empty. Then if it's actually successful, it's going to transfer the item, and it's going to check if the hopper that is transferring into, if the destination is a hopper. So let's say that this hopper in particular was transferring into a chest, then it does nothing. But if there was a hopper instead below that this hopper was transferring into, so there's like a hopper transferring into hopper, the destination has to be a hopper, and the destination hopper has to be completely empty. If these 2 checks are true, it's critical that both of them have to be true. Both have to be a hopper and a destination have to be completely empty. Every single slot have to be empty. Then it's going to do a special thing that it's going to do in this destination hopper. It's going to check if the destination hopper, let's say that the hopper that we were looking at here is this hopper, and it's updated second. There's 4 hoppers and it's updated. The second hopper that is updated, its own clock is set to 100. The hoppers that haven't ticked yet, they're at game tick 99, and the hopper that have already ticked it's at 100. So this hopper that we're looking at, it's going to transfer items, let's say from hopper 2 to hopper 3. The hopper 3 haven't ticked yet because the internal clock is outdated. Then because of this, it's not been updated, haven't ticked yet, then it's going to set hopper 3's cooldown to 8. If it wasn't transferring to hopper 3, it was transferring to hopper 1 because they both are in the same game tick, or they're up to date, both of the hoppers. Then it's going to set the internal cooldown of hopper 1 to 7 game ticks. So based on if the internal clock is up to date or not, it's going to set the cooldown to 7 or 8 game ticks. And this is critical. So this is the exact check of the destination hopper. So if you're transferring out, obviously the destination hopper is the hopper that you're transferring into. But when it's actually sucking in stuff and from other hoppers, or from other containers, or items that are actually on top of the hopper, then the destination hopper is its own destination, and it's going to suck in the destination is itself. Obviously, whatever hopper is being sucking stuff in, it's going to always set its own internal clock to 7 because it's always up to date, obviously. So after the transfer has happened, if it's actually successful transferring out or successful sucking stuff in, it's going to set its own clock or internal clock to 8 game ticks. Regardless if it already set its own clock, it's going to reset its own clock to 8 game ticks. So it's actually setting its own clock twice if it's actually transferring stuff into itself and it's setting its own clock. Then it's going to basically do this check right here. And this is what it's actually doing when it's actually this is just an example scenario when you have like a hopper, 2 hoppers on top of each other, and the lower hopper, let's say that the lower hopper have a higher priority and it's updated first. So the lower hopper is going to update first. It's going to suck in items from the top hopper, and it's going to set its own internal clock to 7 game ticks cooldown because it just did a transfer, and the destination hopper is the lower hopper. But obviously when it's actually transferring items, because it's successful, it's going to set its own cooldown to 8 game ticks. So it was 7, it's now going to set its own cooldown to 8. Then let's say that the lower hopper somehow get rid of the item because there was another hopper below. Let's say that there is a second hopper down below that sucks the item, and this is the third hopper. So then the hopper below gets rid of its item, and the top hopper now updates and transfers an item into the lower hopper. Now the lower hopper is empty because let's say that the item that the hopper 1 just sucked in from above is not gone or something. Then it's going to set the lower hopper to cooldown of 7. And this is kind of the thing that happens within a game tick. So within one game tick, within a couple of updates or between a couple of hoppers, the cooldown of the hopper 1 is actually being updated twice or 3 times, and it's actually flip-flopped between the many cooldowns, and it lands at cooldown 7. Then update the hopper 2 is not finished yet. It's going to actually, because it's successfully transferred, it's going to set its own cooldown to 8. So the end of it, the cooldown of the lower hopper is 7, and the cooldown of the top hopper is 8. So after 7 game ticks, hopper 1 it does its thing, and then 1 game ticks after that, the second hopper on top of it actually doing its thing. So they're actually off by 1 game tick when this whole transferring is completely done. So the lower hopper is basically setting its own cooldown twice within this one update that is actually setting its own cooldown by sucking in items, and then it's actually setting it by 8 game ticks. So this is the whole reason that there's a bug inside of this code, because there is a check here that is actually being done to see if this hopper that is the destination hopper has an item or not, and it's actually flip-flopping between these 7 and 8 game tick cooldowns that it is actually making these hoppers do weird things. So now we're back in the game. I'll just show this demonstration over here. This is one of the demonstrations, and there is another one here. This is how that bug shows up in this particular case where the hoppers don't sort. So before I'll be able to demonstrate this, we need to actually repair this setup because the hoppers don't have the correct update order. So this is the second one. So we'll go here and make sure to break it and set it. This is the third hopper. Let's break it and set it again. So now that we have updated these hoppers, now if I actually flick this lever, there is an item here, a redstone dust, and when we check the lower hopper, there is no sorting, and the items actually go all the way into this chest. So this hopper is now failing to transfer the items downwards because of this weirdness. This is the thing that I was talking about. Because there is an item in here, the hopper that is over here is trying to transfer items from this hopper and place them into this hopper. If there wasn't any items here in this hopper, then it would set this hopper's cooldown to 7 game ticks, because it's updated. Actually, it's updated first. Yeah, this is updated first. Then it's going to set this hopper's cooldown, and then the lower hopper has a chance to actually suck the items downwards before this one transferred the items outwards. But that's not what's happening, because this one is actually updated after this hopper. This hopper is transferring items into this hopper, and before the lower hopper has a chance to suck the items out, the items just disappear. That's because there is an item already in there that's preventing the hopper here from updating. Nope, it's somehow failed. I don't know. Oh yeah, that run out of items. There we go. As long as there's items that are transferring through this hopper is failing to suck the items downwards, and the sorting system is failing. And similarly, this is another setup here. This hopper is updating first, this hopper updating second, and it's different from that one. And then, yeah, you can see these update orders. I'll just build them up here quickly. So now that I've actually finished building it, I'm going to flick this lever. Now there is a redstone dust here. This hopper below can't suck down the redstone dust, and the items are going through this hopper. You can't even see them anymore, and they're instantly transferring to this chest, and there is no chance for this lower hopper to suck the items downwards, and that's because of this instant hopper effect. And you can do some cool stuff with this stuff. And I mean, you can actually set up these hoppers in a way that makes it so that you can actually make instant hopper lines. Now I'm going to tick freeze and stop the game, because otherwise it's not going to work. So I'm going to build this setup where the hoppers are going to be built in the correct order. The first hopper is going to be built like this. Now each hopper has an item inside of it, and in this first hopper I'm going to just fill it up to the rim with a bunch of white concrete. So now I'm going to put down a chest over here as well so that it's easier to see. So now that when I'm actually starting the game again, these hoppers are actually going to transfer a bunch of items instantly all the way to the chest. You can't even see these items here. This has pretty much become an instant hopper line because of the update order. And now the hoppers actually scramble because of the reload bug that actually exists, and I'll link the bug in the description so that you can go and check that bug out. And I made another video about it. And whenever you reload the chunk, these particular hoppers arrange themselves in a specific order that makes it so that whatever order can cause issues. And as I talked about these hoppers that have a lower or higher priority, then it creates these high-low effects where some hoppers have higher priority, and then, for example, in this particular case, this hopper that I'm looking at has the highest priority, this one is lower and this one is even lower than this one, and this one is actually lower than this one. So what happens is that the items can clog into this hopper so that you have an item here, and then whatever transfer is being done into this slot is being instantly shuffled away before the lower hopper has a chance to suck the item. And you can actually build instant hopper lines using this trick. I've tried to figure out a way to do it. Maybe there is a way, but if you wanted to do this instant hopper line, because of this bug, you can only build it towards positive X direction, so east. You can always build it towards east, but no other direction. And this bug can actually cause issues for any hopper line that actually is transferring based on this high-low effect of these hoppers. So instances where this high-low effect can happen is like, for example, if there's a junction at some point in the hopper chain, or if the top of the hopper is exposed. So one hopper needs to be fed multiple items in some way, and this high-low effect needs to exist. And in this particular case, the high-low effect happens because this hopper is a high priority hopper, and everywhere else that feeds into it and everywhere else where it's transferring out of it is a lower priority. And that's why there's like a clog that can actually occur in this hopper, and two items can exist inside of this hopper that causes this hopper to become an instant hopper. This is a complicated bug, and there is a fix. I made a fix for it so that you can put it into the server. I'm not sure if Mojang is interested. We have sent them enough bug fixes, and they haven't listened to many of our suggestions. So, but the fix for this is simple. You can just make sure that whenever the first inventory slot is empty, even if there is items in any other slot, just skip transferring the first item, even if this hopper is transferring it into there, so the lower hopper has a chance to suck the items out. That's pretty much the gist of the fix. Hopefully you will find some use out of this, and maybe someone will figure out a way to make these instant hopper lines pragmatic, and create these instant hopper lines to transfer items quickly. But if you build a tree farm and such, and you need to sort of sort your systems, and the sorter is failing, in this particular case, to get rid of this high-low effect, you can just build these hoppers like that, and the high-low effect happens on this hopper, and this hopper gets double itemed, and this one doesn't. So increase or decrease your hopper lengths, and you will have luck. But if you change anything in your system, then you need to relog. You need to log out and then log back in. So otherwise, if you don't do that, then it's going to the area won't be reloaded, and you need to reload the area for the full effect to take effect. It's basically the bug that I was talking about, the tile entity update or scrambling based on a hash map and such. It's a little bit complicated, that other bug as well. So just look out for this bug. If it actually shows up, then you know what to do. Just change the hopper's layouts a little bit, and it works. In this case, you could actually feed items into this dropper, and then you can have this hopper suck the items in and then transfer them out. That way you can guarantee that this hopper is going to get a cooldown and let this lower hopper have a chance to suck the items, and that would actually be another better fix for this particular bug. Anyways, hopefully you found some good use out of this bug. Bye.